Testing.
All the secrets.
Hello?
It'll come through in a second, I'm sure.
Still all the secrets.
The mic's on.
I don't think it's live.
We're
yet,
live.
Or is it?
Yeah,
live?
no, we're live. It's about 13 second delay.
Really?
Yep.
That's good. Get some food.
You want to keep that in your head, just constantly counting 13 seconds so you know when.
That's my fault.
Flip to me.
Food.
Have a seat, Lockie.
Let me post the stuff. Don't.
Don't start talking yet.
Stuff's happening, but whatever.
We can talk in the background. Well, welcome to those that have joined, the one person watching. I'm here with number 2 pick, Lockie Eichner, by number 2 pick, captain with the number 2 pick. Now, Lockie, what is your colour you have selected for Super League this year?
I've got no idea.
Marty, what is Lockie's
What is
colour
my colour,
that he
Marty?
has selected for Super League this year?
Black.
It's black.
Now, why did you choose black? Controversial pick.
I got the most black shirts.
Now, did you think about your team when you were doing that, or was it all about you?
No, not at all.
A captain for many.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I've got black shirts.
Have you thought about the fact that these are potentially nighttime games in summer, or how when you have the early time slot game in that warm weather, how would the black impact your team's performance?
Black is a colour that strikes fear into the enemy. So
You've heard that's a strong quote. I like that quote. Let's put that one on the bumper sticker. But you've rocked up today in a white shirt or like an off grey.
Yes, I
colour.
have.
Does that mean you're already accepting defeat to the white team, or?
I'm just trying to psych out the white team. Yeah, I think the white team is the weakest team.
And in a controversial pick, Connor has rocked up in an off black colour today, and he is the white team. So I think they both stuffed up in terms of their colour choices
Do
for
you
their
want to change
attire.
shirts, Connor?
Now, the other question I have for you, Lockie, before I let you go, is...
I do have black underneath.
No? Well, true or heartless. Now, the other question I have for you before you go, your tie. Where is your tie?
Where is my tie? I don't have a tie. I've got bow ties, but yeah, I didn't wear a tie tonight.
A little disappointing.
Yeah.
Actually, I got one more for you guys as well. So, you're engaged, correct?
I am.
Sorry, ladies out there on the stream. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your fiancée?
My fiance, Ali, is a lovely woman. She works. She works in IT and is very, very supportive of me in everything that I do. Yeah, she's great. She's awesome fun to be around and very excited to spend my life with her.
Oh, great answer, bud. Now, is it true that she bankrolled your World Juniors campaign and you still haven't paid her back for it?
Yes.
And is that's why you proposed to her, so you now don't owe her a debt?
Yes.
Oh, great. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Ali has very much financially carried me the last 3 years of Ultimate, so yeah, got to get married quick.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck with the COVID. You got hand sanitizer? Thanks,
Thank
Lockie.
you, Sean.
Best of luck.
Yes, there's lots of hand sanitizer, but so do there.
Yeah, I'm just sanitizing my hands now. Ted, can you come join me in interviews, chair?
Hey friends.
How many people do we have live, Marty?
Possibly none.
We've got 4, 5. Is there any way that we can see? Comment in the chat
That's the chat.
If you're watching.
who you are if you're watching. It'd be nice to know who we got.
This is completely random people. I just found the stream by chance.
That's the South African Flying Disc Association.
Oh, who hit Tom?
Oh.
Yo, yo.
We won't be hearing Tung's name to the very end of the draft today, I think.
Not at all, probably.
Brutal.
He hasn't even signed up.
Tung?
Yeah.
Tung's not signed up.
No.
So this will probably be the only we hear of Tung.
Lillian Murray.
Murray.
Hey,
or-
Murray, I got your cleats. Just thought you should know.
Nice. Or Murray, if many people, as they now call him.
That is
Now,
weird.
let me get my hard-hitting questions I've got written down for you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Ted,
Super prepared. Whoa, look at all
your
that.
colour, can you tell us your colour?
I'm
that you
red.
chose? You're red. Reason behind that colour?
Everyone else chose their colours, and then I was told I was red.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like a democracy ahead.
Yes, somewhat.
Now, you were red last year. How do you feel being in the same colour 2 Super Leagues in a row? Will that help with your mental game to
It's
being
actually
prepared?
the third one in a row. Yeah, actually, with Baddix the year before too, with a super stack team. Then last year with a atrocious team. That's the only reason.
I think
I
that
didn't
team was pretty useless. I agree.
win. Yeah.
All players, including myself.
Yeah.
No, wait, you were with Andy last year as well. So
Yeah.
2 Super Leagues in a row with Andy.
You won't stop picking me.
Are you going to pick him in return?
Yes. Some point. If he makes it to 10th round, I might consider it.
I agree with me. Andy at 10th round, that would be a steal.
I would pick you, Tongue. I love you so much.
And Murray said, thanks for letting me know you had your place. This is riveting stuff right here. Now, in terms of, are you more a Chandler, a Ross, or a Joey?
Well, having never watched Friends, I would have to say Ross.
Sorry, I got a message from my dad.
I don't know
Um,
which one's the right one to
Ross,
answer there.
interesting. Anyone who has watched Friends, that's very, very telling of Ted's personality. Now, last thing, if oh great, we're not muted again. Last thing, if you had any choice of alcohol beverage to accompany you for your draft that you think's going to put you in good stead, or non-alcoholic as well, what do you think that beverage would be that would give you the maximum assistance?
Well, I mean, it's got to be a chocolate mud shake for sure. That's my drink of choice. It gives me the boost.
I have seen you as chocolate mud shake before.
But unfortunately tonight I've only got the soju, so have to see how that does for us.
Now, does that mean you're probably picking up any of the Japanese players in our draft? Is that a hint?
There's Japanese players. I wasn't aware.
Sushi, maybe. It's not really. But yeah, but his nickname is Sushi.
He's also not in our draft.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard Rob White likes going to Japan, also not in the draft.
Yes, I'd love to pick him if I could just sneak that one in somehow.
The first good Asian I have on my list is Gareth.
So thanks for your time, Ted. Best of luck
worries.
this evening.
Oh, it's too easy.
You heard it here first. He will tank miserably. Now, I've got Connor Fletcher. Connor, can you join us in the interview chair? Who else is in? Sammy's in. Friends reference is just 2002.
Hello, Sean Davis.
Let's have start off with a more 2020 reference to keep Sammy happy.
Okay.
If your draft strategy aligned with the COVID pandemic of a certain country, what sort of draft, like a graph, going from like good to it's getting crap, do you think you're more like Victoria, more Queensland, more South Australia, more WA, Tassie, or even like New Zealand with an offbeat?
Look, I would say that my draft strategy is definitely based around who I get first. That's what I'll say. If my
Who's your patient zero? That's
my
me.
patient zero? Look, it's looking like I'll just say a tall, lanky receiver.
Okay. His notes might also say literally just was a doodle of a dog. That's about it.
There you go.
He's also writing notes down like it's the 12th century.
Look, I'm old school like that, Sean. But if I don't get Greg, I'm just gonna crash and burn.
Sorry if this YouTube video gets demonetized, Marty, for saying the word doodle.
That's all I'll say right now.
So much already.
That's fine. That's It's fine. a Safter account. Safter's using it.
Also, this is not the formal SAFT account, please be noted. Now, Connor, can you talk us through your colour choice and what colour you were for this year's Super League?
Okay, so I picked white. Let's not go into the reason why I picked white. I just like the colour white. It's a good colour. Strong colour.
Let me get something that it didn't need to be.
Powerful colour.
It's got all the colours in it.
Everything that I want in a colour.
Yeah. It's a simple one.
There you go.
Now, you also have the number 4 pick, so an end pick on your snake grass, so you get the 4-5 as your first two.
Yep.
Can you talk us through where did you, out of all the captains, get a choice in your order first, and why did you pick that 4th pick?
So Ted initially picked the 3rd pick. I was thinking of chopping up between 2nd and 4th.
And then I told him to pick 4, so he did it because he's a little bitch.
No, this is untrue. This is lies.
Where'd you pick?
4.
Just wanted to clarify for the stream. Okay, cool.
I think 4th pick has a lot of. You can either be very safe with it or very dangerous with it, because you could either pick 2 sort of semi-safe picks, or you can pick someone who's safe and someone who's a bit more out there. So I think you've got a little bit more flexibility in that sense.
Yeah, right. I think I get what you mean. Is there do you think those picks are built around chemistry a lot of the time as well, or not really? As you said, you almost maybe pick more of a safety net and then a
Yeah, I
danger.
think depending on who I get, obviously, but I think I'd always be looking at picking a safety net and then maybe someone a bit more risky.
Nice. Now, when we make those picks, you're not going to do it in any specific order, so those two players have to wonder if they're a safety net or if they're your wild card.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And a key amongst the team is one of the finest, I think, team chemistry sort of cultures a team can have.
I'm all about just building chemistry over the season. You know, I don't really care about chemistry at the start. It's just like, whatever. Just go out there, pick the best players.
Pick the best players, good strategy, see how it goes. Now, last question I got for you, Connor. If you were a Simpsons character, who do you think you identify with as a Simpsons character?
Oh,
No, just pick number 2. That's the only spot I can go.
I think it's got to be
Disregard.
Mole Man. Nobody loves Mole Man.
44.
You can see Con in round 1 of the Super League getting hit in the groin by a disc.
Give that man the $10,000. That's all I'll say.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Connor. And lucky last captain who's going to round out for this evening, Wilson. Wilson, we'll leave the most important question to the end. Welcome. Now, first thing, you're wearing a USA UniSA buff. Is this an insight into your drafting strategy much at all, or pure coincidence?
Pure coincidence.
Is it maybe a talk into your inner psyche and how you're thinking, or not really?
Just picked it up.
Yep.
No, it's just random. I think you're reading into too much into it already, but you know, the draft will play it how it will play, and then we just obviously everyone's gonna talk about it afterwards,
Yeah.
and go from there.
Cool. Now, you had the last pick, so you got left with the first pick. Were you excited when you heard that news? Were you like, eh?
It is what it is. I knew that like I didn't have a choice whenever I was going to get picked, so I would have probably. I didn't really expect number 1, but I'll take it anyway. They're going to give it to me, and I'll go from there. So we'll see what I can do with it, and the 8-9 picks as well. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the turnarounds. Now, by you getting the last pick, what that means is out of the captains, they all agreed you're the best player out of the 4 of them. Does that mean you think your team's already got an upper hand compared to your like others that are captains as well?
Yes.
Yep. I'm glad.
I'm gonna
Because
say
three of
yes.
the captains think so.
You guys think about it, so yeah, I do. I think I got a bit of upper hand, but I think I will say that will probably balance by the second and third round. That advantage will probably balance out. Which is
Because
why
you're
the
going to pick
draft.
poorly, or
Well, no, I think it's just how the draft's made. Is try to level it out, and I think it will do that.
we often talk about a drop off in the top tier level of the draft. Do you have a number that you've sort of looked at? You think there's about like X amount of plays before that drop off kicks in?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not going to tell you what number I think it is, but I think there is a drop off, and I think it's going to be interesting. The interesting thing, I think, people rate the drop off differently. I think certain people think the drop off's here or there, and you know, so that will be where it'll be interesting.
Interesting. Now, low key, without giving us too much, your final round pick. I always find the final round pick a really fun and interesting pick. You don't have the last pick, which is always, I don't think you ever want the last pick of the draft because you're going to crush some people's hopes.
Yeah,
Unless you're that type of person.
I got the last pick.
Oh, do you? Oh, yeah. Oh, so you are going to crush some hopes. Sorry.
Yeah, I do have the last pick.
Without giving us too much, what type of pick do you lean towards, sort of, with that last one?
Someone that I know can be good for the team, and someone that's available pretty much is my criteria. And then there's other factors that come into it. I mean, once you're there, you've probably got 9 other players that you need to think about. And, but you know, the 10th round is hopefully a good pick. You know, I had a pretty good 10th round last year, so
Oh, Sam Davey, wasn't
it
it?
was Sam Davey.
Don't expect Sam Davey to get to the 10th round this
I
year.
don't know. I know he won't get to the 10th round, so.
Definitely not. Well, best of luck, Wilson. Thanks for your time. Now, you do have the very first pick, so we'll be hearing from you first out of the captain's chair. Don't blow this big moment.
Try not to.
Yep. Thanks, Wilson. Best of luck.
Thanks.
I'll see you out there on the field, Captain. When are we starting?
Right now.
Alright, so I'm going to welcome into the commentary chair with myself, Sean Davis, the second best Dave or even third potentially, Tim Davis, and someone should probably go get Ben Powley. Ben Powley is cheersing his gin and tonic as we speak. I think he's very comfortable. He may come in for a half commentary trash talk.
Can't see the pick.
Yeah, 2021. So, Marty, we'll.
So Sean, did you learn anything from those interviews?
I did a little bit. I found a little bit interesting what Wilson's last pick is going to be. Also, that these captains put far less consideration to their colour choices than I think many captains have in the past, namely Andy Baddocks.
Who does have red?
Ted does.
Ted, so Ted's going to win. Alright, cool.
But also, he's been on Andy's team the last 2 years, so that's sort of why he's had that red. But he didn't win last year with red. I was on that team. Slow starting team. What team were you on last year? Was you captain?
I didn't play.
That's awesome.
I was 2 months out, or a month out of knee surgery.
Yeah, that would generally do it.
Yep.
How's that rehab gone? How are you feeling at the moment?
Everything's all good at the moment. Everyone likes to ask every time they see me at Frisbee, because I still wear a billion braces. But no, everything's feeling good. Everything's feeling fine. I have made a note in my availabilities that, history says that I have injuries, but we'll see how the captains go with that. Take history versus current feeling, I guess.
Now, I think that's like one of the key questions every draft for the past few years has been the Dave I, ourselves, and how long we'll last into the Super League season. Do you think, traditionally we've gone on the same team, do you think that will happen again this year? And if so, is that a risky thing to do or not?
I would want to hope that people would be smart enough to look at that and not pick us on the same team for that exact risk. I think it was like 3 years ago we picked on the same team at like first and second round or second and third round or something like that. And didn't work out well when we were out the entire season.
No, I think I aptly remember us losing that season by one game when we had a 3-point lead and playing the draft.
I do remember Rhodes playing very well on that team though, as about the only remaining high-level pick. He just killed it.
Yeah, no, he crushed it. Rhodes these days I think is retired mostly from Ultimate.
Yes.
Disc golf player.
Disc golf pro now. Well, wanting to become disc golf pro.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how some of these older guys that now play more disc golf than Ultimate. How they go.
So we are getting into the draft now. We've got Wilson with his first pick, as we discussed earlier. He's got about 10 seconds. And then we'll get underway with the draft and sort of see how the captains progress and
Quick hot pick.
where we go
Who
from
do you
there.
think Wilson's going for?
I guess we're going to wait and see.
I'm going to go Foley.
Good, Ben Powley.
Ben Powley.
Wow.
So what was meant to be a fellow commentary, Ben Powley, has been picked up first round. New to SA Ultimate, but not new to Ultimate. Coming in with a lot of experience over from Sydney with Colony, was going to play a Barramundi's campaign. But yeah, the biggest thing is a lot of maybes.
Yeah, that's a crazy pick, right? Like, he's looking at it not there for the final, if that's the current going. And now we know with this new format we've had the last few years, like there being a grand final, it doesn't matter if you're top all season. If you can't kick it, come to the final.
I did hear some talk before. There was that no for week 10 was becoming more of a maybe. Maybe. I guess, hey, if it works out well, Wilson's going to be quite happy. If it says with just 5 games, maybe not so much.
Shocker on this pick.
Yes, so I think every single person saw that coming. I think Lockie took that second position so that he could pick up exactly Sean Davis. They've played together, I think, the entire time Lockie's played Ultimate, so no surprise there, really.
Yeah, I think it's probably the worst kept secret. Oh, here we go.
There's Sean Davis. This is what he was picked for, especially this part.
Yeah. Now, annoyingly, Marty cut the second half of that clip like an asshole, but then also get another block. But thankfully, then there was me throwing it away to Ted, where Ted's not on my team this time. If it was Lockie probably would have caught that disc. So let's blame Ted for that one.
So, looking at last season's fantasy stats, Sean was top scorer. So I guess if we're, Lockie might be picking him for his actual team as well as his fantasy team. See how that ties out.
Yeah, I hope so. Came through good in the end. Couple easy Ds in the last week. So
Ted-
third pick here, 2020, Ted's first pick, going to Greg Schrader. It's a tall team early.
Yeah, I had a feeling Ted was going to go this way and try and take the dominance early, and go assuming we can find assuming we can find something afterwards. Who's going to match them really? Most teams won't have two great tools.
Yeah.
So they will, I guess now Ted will sort of look to find someone who can throw a disc to them and try and take that dominance against all the other teams.
Noticed it pro today at selections as well. It looks like SA men's are getting shorter, I think, as it's going on. A lot more of the tools are sort of going away, and it's now a lot of these shorter players as well. So, in fact, he's got two of a few limited bunch.
But, and again, the tools are great because they did win the scratch today. Tall boys versus short boys. Tall boys did win it. Just keep that in mind. Tall boys number one.
Overrated. It'll be interesting to see who does go with that thrower.
Nathan Dignam.
Jeez, classic Connor pick, just like complete left field. Diggett's great player, lovely player. They just came off a state league Div 1 championship together, both playing for AU.
Yep. I think late sign up as well. Nathan Dignam managed to just scrape himself in. So Connor probably hasn't planned this one too far in advance, whether that's thrown a spanner in his works or not. Down 2 games, which is interesting for first pick, especially like I did not pick Nathan Dignam going pick round 1.
No.
He is one of the fastest, not the fastest, which we'll get to later. But he's one of the fastest players in SA Ultimate, but does he have enough that can be that anchor for the entire team and do everything that you want that first round doing?
Yeah, true. And didn't play last season. I don't know if he's played Super League before, potentially. So, Super League Virgin potentially going for first round. It's all downhill from here.
It's definitely some stats. And 30.
All right.
So we got the young guys.
I think Connor's let the cat out of the bag pretty early in what his team's looking like. It's all about speed. Last year he was part of a shooting team with height. Seems like this year he's gotten a complete opposite strategy. It's like, let's just pick short, quick guys that have a lot of defensive chops as well.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, if you want some guys to get blocks, they are there. Digners will get you under blocks. He'll let them think they're free, and then with the closing speed will get you a block. And Ferdu just hit the floor left, right, and centre.
Interesting. Looks like they were on the same team last year as well, Connor and Ferdy, so maybe some chemistry there. Yeah, that would be interesting. We're talking about Ted going to probably pick up a thrower here.
So yeah, 30 least points played in the last Super League, which I wasn't part of. I don't know if he got injured at all or he just decided to sit on the sideline a lot. Coach. But I think Connor will probably be expecting 30 to play a few more points considering he's gone in round 2.
Recently playing Div 2 State League. We'll see how 30 goes in
Yes,
Div 2.
see if he can pick it up the Super League.
Now, Ted, clear strategy here, pure height and nothing else. It'll be interesting what's still around in terms of throwers when it gets to that line. I think it's the classic Ted strategy of picking a team where he can be a player, a thrower, rather than like similar to what he had for I think Southern Open this year. He wants to be a thrower.
He's definitely opened up options though. It's always nice when you've got some tall throwers and you can just strike out of nowhere. If Ted's been handling the entire game, you throw a handler marker down on them and then suddenly he's in the end zone, scores a goal, and then they switch that over and then he sends Johnny and scores a goal. So I think Greg's your safe one that he won't be handling. But apart from that, he's got all the height and it's going to be almost impossible already to match the three of them.
Thought that might be happening. Joseph Petrie going as Lockie's third pick. Pure early draft predictions was Lockie's team would be mostly UniSA. Now, Joe and Lockie State League Grand Final had some insane chemistry together.
Yes.
Joe dropping bombs. But yeah, early season chemistry wins. Like, you got to say that with your top picks. But it'll be interesting as the competition progresses. Are they able to build and develop as much? I'm going to say yes. I think that team's going to win.
Lockie also likes people to throw him goals. That's how he plays. And so by picking up 2 handlers straight off the bat, he set people who played with him before know that he's going to run, and he's played enough with them to go, hey, I'm running, throw him the disc, I'm going to get it. have faith in me.
Now the stats there for you: most Ds in the league and most throwaways last season. Wow.
Yeah, so I think that was guaranteed, and I think Wilson is probably pretty happy with that. Him and Foley have played a lot together, and the fact that he managed to drop all the way to number 8 honestly surprises me.
Yeah, I thought guaranteed first round pick.
Yes, same. Had Foley
I
first
thought he
round.
was almost going to take him with his first pick, and I think
Yes.
the fact that he's able to get them both is going to be problems.
Yeah. I think I was throwing up between the two Bens, I guess, for that first pick, and the fact that he's got both is just absurd. I think we're only 2 rounds in, but Wilson's definitely my early round favourite, pending Paule's availability, I guess.
True point.
But yes,
Yeah.
Foley's been playing for many years and is still incredibly fit, and is that player that you can build around because he can do everything. He can throw, he can receive, he
As
can cut.
can Wilson Powley, very dynamic team. Yeah, thought that one as
Yeah.
well. I thought my initial pick early draft was Foley 1, Real as his turnaround, because I didn't think Powley would be there, but I think the chemistry that team's got to bring together in that top 4 is going to be very challenging for most teams to compete with.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Lockie's with his Uni SA. Wilson's got great chemistry with all of them. Some of them have played WoW together. Some of them have played a lot of beach together. I think in general they all have a lot of similar play styles. They're all going to work hard for each other, make a lot of plays. That's a very strong first 3.
Yeah, it would be a classic pre-draft strategy of... Yeah. Classic pre-draft strategy, Wilson just taking good players and not overthinking it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's dangerous. We'll see back half will be interesting for him.
So I think also on Wilson's, I think these are similar players that he picked up last year. Obviously not Powley, but I think he had Foley and John Brew in his team last year, which took him to the championship. So I guess they want to try and back that up again. If they ain't broke, don't fix it.
Nunu going 3rd round pick. Excited to have him on my team. Do you think it was going to be 3rd round?
I sort of had him around there. There is, I had a few different players going up top, but I sort of had Nuno ending up around there somewhere. I guess puts a little bit more legs, and hopefully maybe someone will take, Nuno might take a good strong defender. Opens up for Lockie a little bit more, or if they start shutting Lockie down, brings in Nuno.
I think Nuno actually might have been on my team last year. I'm not sure if that was the case.
Red team, by the looks of it.
He was a red team. Yep, so he was on my team last year. So that's 3. Yeah, there's
Ted is going clear height. Well, I don't know whether you guys can hear that or not, but Ted has said if you're not over 6 foot, you're not on his team. So yes, we got. I guess our next few picks for Ted are going to be
Marty, Scott Swart. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up Jack Hall maybe down there
Jack
somewhere.
Hall, yep. That gives him
Izzy.
a thrower as well at some point. Izzy. Ben Foley today. Oh no, Foley's gone. I was going to say I found out today he's taller than I thought he was.
Sorry, commentators. I'm just real sad because I had a lovely video for Nuno, but I didn't play it. So I'm just going to go back to the Nuno pick.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yes. That's one of Nuno's best moments.
Up there with the old throw. What was it?
Fat side. Oh shit, he threw it.
Classic.
So on the pick with me, so Ted's obviously assumed. Ted has assumed that I'm not going to get injured, I guess, picking me up round 3. And yeah, I really think the other teams are now going to struggle with that height.
Yeah, true. I think there'll be some very clear defensive looks specific to your team, and it'll be how teams can adjust to that. Now, we'll move on to Connor's recent pick of Sam Kayon. Some more Adelaide Uni chemistry, which is sort of what people were thinking with him. I think it'll be interesting what he picks up here on his snake, because the moment I'd say some good movers, but do they have, say, that long height game or that long receiving game? Diggers is good deep, but you can't sort of just have the one.
Sam Cowon's another one that I thought was going to go earlier. I had him in round 2. I think for years I underestimated him. And then every single year he showed me up, and I've started to realize, no, he's a very good player. Some people worry about his defense, but he's incredibly smart.
Wow. I'm kind of picking up Nick Evaniardis. I think, Marty, you got a clip for Nick?
Or the end of a clip.
Oh.
Click screwed up. I'm
Not-
such a sad man.
Well, we got his spike, at least.
Okay, we can go again.
All right, here we go.
Upside down. And number 9 coming in later.
Interesting. So Nick was a maybe all the way up until this morning, where he finally got confirmation from work that he can get the weeks off.
Yep. But also hasn't played a whole bunch of Ultimate recently. That's, I guess another young player, for sure. So they've got that youthful enthusiasm, as opposed to Ted's team.
I like Nick with that team. I think he slots in well. I think he really would fit in and cohesion with some of these players really, really strongly.
Tall.
Ted picking up Sammy
Sammy's tall.
and got the throw he wanted.
He
as
got
well.
he got a thrower. He's 6 foot. Boom.
He needed, especially with height like that, you want some cannons. You don't necessarily want someone that can maybe move and throw it. You want a cannon.
Yeah.
And, I can still see Jack going there as well and just sticking Jack and Sammy behind the disc.
Yep.
And then be like, we'll just throw pike.
And I guess-
though, will be interesting for them.
Though if every point lasts one throw, at least you're not going to get yourself tired out. Yeah.
True.
Interesting there as well. Sammy has mentioned that his fitness is the best it's been since 2014, and he's ready to crush nerds. So I think, as far as I'm aware, Sammy's looking to play Div 2 Nats this year. So I don't think he's playing Div 1. So despite the fitness being amazing, he's decided to call it for whatever reason. Maybe he's trying to do the antibiotics and peak for Super League. Yeah, big prep for it.
Wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, that's your cannon.
Lucky picking up Talus Smiths now. Talus is
Not UniSA.
not
that's
Looney
the first
SA,
thing.
but
Yep.
neither is Nunu.
No, yes.
But interesting. Talus's last stat says something that you really want to forget if you're on his team or if you're him. Talus with the lowest passing percentage with 18 throwaways and only shooting at 77%. So about 1 in 4 throws being a turnover.
Yeah, I think you like to look at those numbers and go 77. Oh, that's not too bad. And then when you say 1 in 4, you're like, wow, how can you afford that? Somebody gets a disc and there's a 25% chance of throwing it away is just nuts. That's absurd. So I think, especially with people like Sean and Joe on that team, hopefully they'll be able to coach it and be like, T, you're a bloody good runner and you're a bloody good defender. Run, dump, move
Catch
on,
goals. Yeah.
catch goals.
Like
you love to
Lockie,
do.
high throwaways, Joe can as well. So.
Sam Tonkin for Wilson. So no chemistry there as far as I'm aware.
Very similar player though.
Yep.
Very similar style of player.
Yeah, some more speed, a lot of unders. So I think a lot of teams are going to struggle with that on how you beat them unders. How are you going to shut down Wilson, Ben Foley, John Brill, Sam Tonkin on those unders? That's seriously going to struggle. You think about sort of Ted's team. They've got these great guys that can get blocks in the end zone, but if they're doing 2-meter passes every time, there's no chance for us to use any height.
It'll be interesting as well. I think one thing that worries me early with Ted and Wilson's team is too similar. You got an entire roster of people that are used to playing a very similar role, especially Wilson's team. Do they get in each other's way a little bit?
Yep.
If they're all wanting to be the chef around that front of stack, can they change their play style and work off of each other or get in the way of each other?
Yeah. I know we found that in State League Grand Final. We found that, semi-final. Distressingly Indecisive had a lot of similar players. End up sort of getting in each other's way. A lot of people trying to do the same stuff.
Here's a great clip from Sando.
Yes.
Winding the clock back, Sando just being an absolute boss, as he still is, but
So this was a universe point, as far as I'm aware, as he made that grab.
to get up into quarters.
To get up in the
at
quarters.
Nationals.
Yes, it was absolutely absurd.
Such another interesting disc mover type pick. I'd like to see Wilson. Yeah, it's clear he's all out strategy, right? Let's pick people that will move this quickly and change your angle.
And I guess if you wound the clock back about 8 years, exact player as the others. He's
True.
just got a few more grey hairs on him
Yeah.
now.
He probably did that. I think he was a master still about 8 years ago.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, but that's Sando. He was agile as a master. Hong.
Hong going to that team.
Another handler? Oh yeah, I guess actually he does a little bit of everything. Can move around.
Yeah, does do a little bit.
Can get some good blocks as well. He showed today at the selections. He got a few good blocks. Got a pretty crucial sort of bookends and stuff like that. So I think him and Taylor sort of thing there will be definitely there to make some blocks as well as yourself. I guess Lockie's thinking offense and defense.
Now, last year just the 4Ds, so nothing too crazy for Hong. Pretty sitting well, but his passing and catching percentage are both very good numbers. Passing percentage 96. If you're into those high 90s, then you're definitely doing something right.
And that's definitely what you think of when you think Hong. He's not going to make the amazing play, but he's also not going to fuck it up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He's there confident.
Bit of defense, I think that team needed, which was good. Probably a little slow, you could almost argue at the moment.
Possibly.
Yeah, compared to that 14
So
Connors.
I'm gonna make it. I was about to say I'm about to call Marty.
Yeah.
But I was a second too slow. Yep.
This is either going to go down, I think, as a great team, or
the dumbest idea in Super League history.
it'll beat the Bruce for not winning a single game
Yep.
all season type deal.
So Marty's also got maybes. So it's not just that he's a tool, but he's also got a whole bunch of maybes, which will be bloody interesting.
Highest goal scorer and second most points played last season.
I guess when you play that many points, it's pretty easy to score lots of goals.
Yeah, true fact.
Yeah. If that said, second least points played and highest goal scorer, I'd be impressed.
Come on, I was the highest by 5. 5 ahead of Rich Johnson.
No.
Who, by the way, played more points than I do.
So if you guys can't hear this, Marty's trying to justify his position, but no one's with him. So yes, all of this stream, all the graphics, everything brought to you tonight by Marty. We're currently running 3 monitors, a 10-sheet spreadsheet, flicking in and out. There's timers on 3 different laptops, and it's an absurd setup.
Again, it seems Connor going scary. He's going speed. He's going defense chops.
And he's got another. I think it's a great pick though. He's got Sam Kane as his primary handler, and then no one else yet.
Oh, he's got himself.
I keep not looking at the captains. To be honest, I keep looking at everything below the line. Yep. Yeah, okay. But no, I think Scary is a great pick. His note was round 4 or lower, and I think he was picked up at round 5. So I guess he's happy. Scary likes to claim that he is the fastest man in SA Ultimate, though we did run a duelio at State League Grand Finals, which Scary decided not to be at, not to compete. He was there, he decided not to. I'm not going to let it rest, Scary. You can't just complain. Which we still haven't seen the fastest man in SA Ultimate getting picked.
No.
Exactly. So we'll wait and see whether that pops up.
I think he could go anywhere. I honestly think that fastest man could go anywhere almost from this 7th round all the way down to the 10th round.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting where he ends up.
Gareth, there it is.
So, interesting. Connor went with, if you can pop the ice cream, Marty. Connor went with his pre-draft strategy of using the end of the snake for a safety net and a wild card. You can see that in his first pick, probably with maybe, I think first 30 or Diggers is a bit hard, but Sam's your safety net, then Nick's your wild card. Scary's more your safety net. Gareth can be your wild card.
Yep, sure. Gareth's come off a MVP at Halibut or something. He played recently. So obviously other states have recognised that he's got some talent. I think we have a video or something. No.
He said, Wilson, please pick me, and he got picked by Connor. So animosity on the team before the league has even begun.
There was a lot of hate in the sign-up comments. People not wanting to
Yes.
have him on their team.
Yes, a few people had sort of mentioned Gareth. Me like, I want to play with Gareth. I don't want to play with Gareth. Sort of stuff. So
If any of those
I don't know all the net. I'd need to check the comments to see whether any of those current players are those ones. But we'll see. Andy Baddocks. So I think this is probably the lowest that he has gone in a long time.
Still seems very true.
And when you've got this behind you, I don't know whether that helps his case or hurts his case.
There's not many players you could say that have an entire meme page dedicated to.
No, they don't.
Goes lightweight.
Intermediate male ultimate player, everybody.
So had highest catching percentage, not dropping in disc last season, which is fantastic. Fourth most throwaways though as well. For 19 assists, 21 throwaways. I always like to think if you're throwing a lot, you better be getting a lot of assists. Also, if you're having a lot of throwaways, you better have a lot of assists. Ooh,
Sophie
lucky
Taylor.
one, Sophie Taylor.
Here we go. So we've got 3 women in the draft
Yep.
for this one. We got Sophie Taylor. We have Alice, I see,
Yep.
and we have Anna Rousler. And yes,
Sophie coming down recently from Brisbane, played all over the country, which is awesome. And played US Nationals with Molly Brown last year as well,
Yep.
with a hot run of that. So no doubt she knows high level ultimate.
yes, for sure.
And if Marty can swap to that team list again, I think it probably slots in pretty well with that team as well. If you've got a couple of players you're worried about throwing it away, Sophie's not going to throw it away for you.
No. So Sophie's trained with Outbreak last season. Was there today. So Outbreak was sort of having some selections today. Sophie was there again today, and yeah, there was definitely no turnovers.
No.
I don't think you've barely ever seen Sophie do a turnover. She plays completely within herself and completely just goes exactly what I can do, and I'll do exactly that very well.
Yep. Now Wilson pick up Tim Stevens again. Chemistry right there, right?
Yep.
And I think that is such a good pick for him. It's a player that he has very strong chemistry with, as do lots of that team with Brill, Wilson, etc. But it's a different role, which is I think what they need. So last season getting 20 goals but 0 assists. It's pretty clear what his role is.
I don't think that surprises anyone with Tim Stevens. Also, though, when he doesn't catch it in the end zone, 100% passing percentage.
Yeah.
So at least doesn't turn it over.
42 completions as well. I'm very intrigued to know how that slotted up to last year's completion percentage. Because I can imagine that's not very
To be honest,
high.
I wouldn't expect that many passes from Tim Stevens. I'd expect him to throw like 10 passes in the year because everything else is in the end zone.
It's with those low numbers, but you're right? You can't throw completions.
And Anna. Wilson's picked up Anna. So there we go. That's 2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah.
Anna is the fastest. It's just stupidly fit.
Just crazy.
It's just dumb.
Same David on that team, I'm calling it.
Yeah. There's probably some chemistry there as
that'll
well.
come down the track, I reckon.
Yeah. Anna is stupidly fit. She'll run around for an entire Frisbee game, and then she'll be like, cool, now I'm going to ride home. Oh, I might just detour via, for Port Pirie, for God's sake, because why not? That's Anna.
Absolute madness. I'm trying to think how Anna will slot into that team. I think, again, will slot in well and will do 7th round, right? If that's your 7th player on your power line, and you've got her running around there, I think...
Or she'll be off, assuming Wilson put himself on the power line.
Yeah, assuming Wilson puts himself on the power line.
Yeah,
but
maybe
that's,
not. Yeah.
A good play you're going to have to run around with.
Actually, Wilson is carrying an injury at the moment. So, yeah, take himself off. There's your power line. Anna Rousler to round it up.
Yeah. An experienced team as well, looking at it, right? No,
Luke Meyer.
lucky go with Luke Meyer. Interesting pick.
So, I personally don't actually know who Luke Meyer is.
So Luke played on our team last year. Last time he went as pick 29, which I think would slot in around 7th.
Oh, he was
Seventh
picked
round.
26 today, so he was 3 picks later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bowers, same spot he was picked last year. Quick guy, springy guy for a shorter player. I think last year struggled early with completions and slotting in with the chemistry, but really picked himself up later in the season.
23 completions, and in the 80s for those numbers sort of stuff. So, definitely, I could say a little raw, a little rough around the edges based on those numbers.
Missing 2 games as well.
Missing 2 games. Yep. I think that's one that surprised me, to be honest. Mainly because I don't know who he is. So I don't know exactly where he starts in. But yeah. And Pat's not over 6 foot. I don't think.
Ted suddenly sounds like he's panicking in this draft.
He's not over 6 foot
He's
for sure.
come into a draft with this strategy of 6 foot onlys, and then he's now picked up someone about 5'8".
Yeah, no, I'm not sold on that, to be honest. If you got a strategy, stick with it. No point bitching it halfway through.
No, I agree. I think all talk, no show from Ted.
Side note, nobody else wants to run on that team. Pat Christie will run for about 7 different players, so that's handy. But no, if you're not going to go all in with a whack tactic, there's no point doing it.
Nah.
There were plenty of options there as well. We discussed Jack Hall, we discussed Izzy, we discussed. I guess Tim Stevens is gone now. He would have been one.
Still kicking
Dennis
around,
Shine, he's over 6 foot. I don't know what other names we've got in our lists.
We'll find out.
Teams. Sheets. I don't know. Mr. Consistent Keith. How's that?
Wilson will be gutted. I think Wilson would have really wanted him.
Yeah, that's enough, yep.
Let's go with Connor. Another defensive nut. I think if we look at Keith's stats from last season, third most Ds. Not a lot around the rest of it. But last year went all the way at pick number 16. This year down to 28.
Why do you think that is? What's Keith? How's Keith changed? Has Keith got worse? Have other players got better? Was Keith forgotten about?
He played Div 2 League.
He played Div 2 League. Maybe that's it.
But then again, so did 30.
So did 30. He was picked up early. Andy Bags didn't play League and dropped down a long way. Maybe that's all it is. All people do is look at the State League. Keith Chow wasn't there today either. So, I know a lot of, Wilson injured, apparently, so that he could just scout people. Didn't see Keith, so he was like, well, no point picking him.
Potentially people looking more for offensive rather than defensive. Interesting. Changes gradually going from defensive, but there's the classic wild card pick. Perrin Fegan, or Fegan, as Connor pronounced it. A bit more chemistry again with those Adelaide Uni players coming out of Adelaide Uni. Last season, I think if we grab his stats, beautiful, had the highest passing percentage around. He had no turnovers, 44 completions, no throwaways.
I think a lot of people had sort of mentioned Perrin as great value. T had sort of mentioned that he's an excellent pickup, commonly overlooked, but it does great. Also, Outbreak Div 1 coach Johnny Warren White had said can confirm Perrin's solid value. So when you've got the coach hyping you up, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, can't complain with that one, that's for sure.
Also, pretty good Rocket League player. Just in case that comes in handy, in case we have to cancel the league and resort to other methods. I don't know how we're going to do a 10-a-side Rocket League match, but we'll see what happens.
Say Andrew Chua.
Nowhere near 6 foot. He's barely 5 foot.
He is scrambling, Ted.
What is he up to?
He's going for the opposite ends of the spectrum, I think. So Andrew Chua from last year's bottom half of the draw was the second highest fantasy scorer. So he's going to do things for you, that's for sure. You can see they're racking up 7 Ds. Is pretty high, with not a bad catching and passing percentage. Passing in the 90s, it's not too bad.
Also, has increased 1 spot from last year. Give him another 29 Super Leagues, number 1 pick. That's what he's got to be holding out for, right?
So what's he going to be, like 50-year-old going pick number 1?
Something like that.
I think only Tom Regaki could probably pull that feat off.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I was going to say maybe Joel Pillar unretires in 20 years' time just to see where people pick him and throw a spanner in the works.
Do these people know who Joel is? That's the question.
So also, Andrew, Pat, pretty similar, I'd say. Both run around a lot.
Both going to put it.
Sid.
Lucky picking up Sid as well. Early looking of that team, I'm trying to think. They'll struggle early. Lack of chemistry, I think. Looking at a lot of those players that potentially haven't played together.
Which we looked at after the first week, first couple of picks, and went, they've got it. So maybe that's the plan. He's gone. A couple of us getting Joe, yourself, Lockie will get you through the first few weeks. Everyone else will blend in, and then you'll be good to go for the rest of the season.
A strong core that gives you an identity early, and then you just got to slot the rest of the players into that as well.
Personally, I think Sid's great. I love playing with Sid, and also incredibly coachable. You mentioned to Sid that, hey, try working on this, and boom, he's straight onto it. He won't make the same mistake twice. And will always pick up anything. Even a tiny little thing. You're like, hey, maybe slightly adjust this throw, slightly, change your cut here, and boom, he's nailing it the next time around. So I think Sid's one that, assuming he keeps playing for a few more years, will definitely jump up that order a long way.
Sam Davey
from the improvement.
Called it.
There we go, Sam Davey.
I mean, his head. I think Wilson's going, hey, if you won last year with this team, don't break it. Go with much similar players. Chemistry again. For that is fantastic, and he was the highest fantasy score from the bottom of the draw last season.
So who's his next pick is the next question.
Jeez, I'm sure when he says it, it won't be a surprise.
You say you're in his head, so it's got to be another running around cutter sort of person. Who we got left?
76 centimetre James Conner is sitting there. I think
James
Wilson is the only one that probably knows who Jimmy Conner is.
Jimmy Conner recently back from Sydney. I think it's Sydney. Was I guess go back 4 or 5 years before he moved away, and he would be going in around 4, round 5 sort of thing. Has played plenty of Super Leagues. Has played a lot of winning Super League teams, I think was his comment.
I'm going to call it. It's going to be Sam O'Connell, I reckon. Sam O'Connell is a hot pick.
No.
Another Sam for the team, and I think the chemistry will.
Just going off from the other Sam. There it is.
There you go.
Jimmy.
76 centimetre.
76 centimetre, Jimmy Connor.
76 centimetre vert.
Sorry, buddy.
76. Vertical, that is, by Jimmy Connor. Incredible. Great to see
Still.
Jimmy back playing.
Yeah.
Do you know if he's been playing
So,
over in Queensland?
last chatted to him a few years back, and he... Jim Bean just killing me. As far as where he wasn't playing competitive Ultimate, had sort of like a very social, casual throw around in a park sort of thing going on. But knowing Jimmy Connor, he will be incredibly fit. He'll be doing climbing. I don't think the guy has ever owned a car. He'll be riding his bike absolutely everywhere. I think he'll come out as a round 9 pick. Someone that's just going to run for 80 minutes straight is absurd.
Got to look at that team. Anna, Davey, Jimmy Connor, Foley. Like, all that team is running legs.
Yeah, that's going to be impossible to keep up with.
Lucky taking Jack Hall.
The 6-foot player, Ted could have had that. Ted could have had him.
Yeah.
He wanted 6-foot players, he could have had him. Jack is maybe the tallest player, I think.
Probably in the draft.
Yeah, I would say, well, I was going to say, when line up today, yeah, Jack Hall, the tallest player, and he's let that one go. So, silly by Ted. But also some chemistry for Lockie. We were talking about the last few rounds not having it, but ties back in another UniSA player. And Joe and Jack was UniSA's handling core. So that's nice that you've kind of got the backfield set up from week 1 without having to do any work.
True. Yeah, and then myself slotting back in there as well. So your 3 handlers on that team, plus Hong potentially slotting in, have all handled together for a long time.
Yeah.
So they work well. No, I haven't been checking out the chat much. I think Marty's been going through. Jimmy Connor on the stream. Good to hear you back, Jimmy. And then as is Moray.
Ryan would be 6 foot, I'd say.
Just.
Yeah.
Maybe just 6 foot.
Yeah, I'd put Ryan at 6 foot. Yep.
Yeah.
Ryan also, little known fact, but probably incredibly important, was a Who Dares Wins champion many years ago. Yeah. He rocked up and they did a sort of 4 people challenge sort of thing. Had 4 rounds, knocked people out one at a time, and Ryan Frabb was the winner. So I think that's I don't know why he wouldn't go round 1 with that sort of information,
Now
but maybe they weren't aware.
Greg's on that team as well, right? Now, Greg also, about years back, went on Family Feud and ended up winning, was it 5 straight nights of Family
5
Feud
straight
and winning
nights.
the car and the 100K?
Winning the car and got the 10K 3 times. So I think ended up walking away with about $33,500 plus the car, which is now
For the 4.
which is now Greg's car.
Quiz night team. That's your winning quiz night team right there.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, game show champions is their quick little name.
Now, Singh, no one would expect, I think, Singh to go this late.
Round 9.
But
how did we
today
forget Singh?
today at selection, Singh did go off with, I'm trying to think if it was an ankle injury.
Yes.
And yeah, you already see he's out for week 1, probably based purely on that. He specifically said he does not want Gareth on his team. So kind of having those 2 on their team seems like some animosity that could be started there.
Is that going to hurt, or is that going to drive them and be like, screw you, I'm the better one, kick you off the team, or
No, definitely. Seeing if he plays and if he's fit, great pick at pick 9.
Absolute steal at round 9.
But I think, Slotchin again, defensive player, Slotchin really well. We're getting now last round of picks. Many
round.
names still there.
So yeah, some big fastest man in SA Ultimate.
Oh, there
we
he
go.
is.
There it is. Fastest man in SA Ultimate. Recently got that title at State League. I guess when you want that speedy little guy in round 10. And here we can see Alfie Edgeworth absolutely destroying Ben Paolo.
Yeah,
Yep.
Redhead Chad dominating Brown Pom, I think, is the title of that video.
Yep.
Least completions last State League, second most drops, lowest catching percentage. I think
But can
Fastest.
jump the number 1 draft pick as well.
and fastest man in
Oh.
South Australian Ultimate.
Yeah.
So you got opposite ends of the spectrum there with Alfie. Nah, he was always going to go. It just depends on where he went. And if you can get him with clean hands, you got a very good 10th round pick right there.
So I think 3 picks to go. I think there's some interesting one that I'm looking at is Dennis Shine.
Yeah.
6 foot. That's my next call for Ted.
Scotty Swartz, Sam O'Connell.
Yep.
Yep. Rex Johnson, if you want to pick up it.
Israel Stone, like 6 foot. There we
Yep.
go.
There's his
There it is.
strategy. He's going to be stoked
Yep.
with that.
I don't know about if he just cut these Pat and Andrew, he would have been set. He could have filled them with Rexy. Yes.
Interesting. Jordan Powell.
Rex and Scott Swart. They would have been the two to fill it out and would have had the winning team.
So with 3 picks left, I can see Scott Schwartz probably going, Sam O'Connell probably going. I would love to see Nelson Tape going, who got inched out by Alf in that fastest South Australian.
Yep.
But looking at experience, it's going to be a hard run for him there.
So yeah.
But surely Shauna has to go somewhere in these
Shauna.
last 2 picks.
I think
LSC as well.
Alice, Wilson's got that last pick. Put a Ben with Alice,
True.
Ben likes to promote
That's-
it constantly,
there's some
and
chemistry
I think
there.
if Ben was captain, he would have picked Alice like 2nd round.
Probably.
But whether or not that will carry
Well,
in
if
those.
that's going to happen, does Lockie know who Dennis is?
Oh, I love this pick.
Who?
Daniel Aguirre. The classic 10th round, no one knows who he is. So Daniel's been playing Nuzzle for the last season, but been playing Colombia for about 5 years before that.
5-year Colombian.
So
Good pick.
in terms of with 5 years experience in home country in Colombia, honestly, in how I rate his abilities, I put him in around that 6th round. Shortish,
steal then.
lays out on an indoor court like an idiot. Will want blocks, will give you strong, good pump fakes. Will work hard. I think matching up at that 10th round, he will cause some havoc.
His comment did say recovering from shoulder surgery. Is that because he was an idiot and laid it in indoor?
Probably, let's be honest, he laid out twice in one game on indoor court. This is an idiot.
Yep, he's an idiot. Cool.
Idiot, I'm keen to be
Good,
playing.
good running idiot in round 10.
Yeah, exactly right.
The next
And-
pick's got to be Dennis, right?
If Dennis
I'm
does
calling
not
Alice.
go now, then
I'm cool.
yeah,
Nah.
Wilson's not a
Got it
chump.
wrong.
Last pick, Dennis Shine.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, everyone saw that coming. Couple tough names there to pick out. Well, we'll quickly talk about Dennis before we get into him. But Dennis saying he is 40, but you're talking maybe, 2-3 Super Leagues ago, he's probably gone 3rd round, 4th round.
Yeah.
What a pick that is
And
for Wilson.
has some height there as well. Like, apart from that, they had Tim Stevens as your deep receiver. Maybe, Jimmy Connor with 76 centimeter vertical, of course. But apart from that, who's your height? You can run unders, sure, but at some point you might need to throw a long bomb.
Yeah.
So having Dennis there is good.
100%. I think very interesting look at teams. Right side, you have Connor's team with his all speed. Okay. Left side, you got
All speed
Wilson's team.
and youth.
And youth. And then Wilson's is the opposite. All
Keith 27, maybe? Apart from
Sam
that.
Kayon, obviously.
Sam Kayon, obviously, old man, he's like 70. And I've lost it.
Yeah. Also, yeah. So you got Pat. Looking at Connor's team, you got Sam at 31. You got Scary 27 these days.
Yeah, he's the same age as me. Yep.
Oh Jesus.
Yep.
And Keith at 27. Other than that, like all low 20s.
Anna is 37?
Yeah.
Imagine if I could run that fast at 37.
That's a
Oh,
bit
no, I've
ridiculous.
leaked too much
Jesus.
information to the public. Sorry, Anna, I know it was a state secret.
What the hell?
But then, like, looking at like Wilson's team, right? Youngest player is Sam Tonkin at 23. Then Wilson himself at 25. Like, players all in their 30s there, even sneaking one into their 40s.
Yeah, so I guess, looking at the team, so what do we got? Wilson's just unders. Just running unders all day.
They're not going to throw it away, that team as well, right? Like, if you look at their like passing percentage of the players that played last season, all up there in the high 90s. And the players that didn't play are consistent players as well.
Yeah. No, Jimmy Connors, I guess, in the unknown. So I think Wilson's looking that way. Lockie, what do we got for Lockie? That's your team. What's your thoughts?
Lockie's an interesting team, the winning team, obviously I'm going to say. As was picked, quite UNSA heavy, Daniel, Joe, myself, but maybe not as UNSA heavy as someone predicting, but that top core definitely very UNSA. A lot of probably unfamiliarity with players out of that top core, so it'll be interesting to see how players like Nunu T, Hong, Sophie, Luke Meyer, Sid, Daniel all sort of slot in together.
Yep.
Probably haven't played together a lot at all.
Yep. Yeah, sure.
And also looking last Super League, you've got about 7 players from Lockie's team last season on the same team again. So very similar. Same with Wilson's. Very similar to his last team.
Yes.
About 6, 7 returns.
So obviously Wilson was a captain last season. However, it was Andy last time that Lockie sort of just gone, yeah, that'll work. How did that team go last season? Where'd you end up?
I think we came third. Started slow, which was the trouble, but late in the season was pushing it with the top team. So maybe a similar thing this year where it's struggling maybe chemistry early, but as people find what they're doing late in the season.
Yeah, so I guess the only difference with that chemistry-wise is, I guess, adding in Jack Hall. The rest of you were all, yourself, Joe, Lockie, were all together last year, like sort of that UniSA handling core. So I guess Jack's the other one that has chemistry already to jump in from the get-go.
Yeah.
Extra handler, you're never going to complain about. I feel as if handler chemistry is a lot more important than cutting chemistry. Anyone can run around. It's just whether or not the guys know what they're doing and where to cut and where to dump and what to throw, or more importantly, what they can throw. Yeah.
Totally. Now we'll move on to Ted's team. Your team, give us a rundown of your team.
Well, yeah, we're tall. You hadn't noticed, we're pretty tall.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
So obviously Pat, Christie, Andrew are our 2 smalls, who will do all our running for us. Apart from that, we're just punting to the end zone. So that's, I guess, Sammy Ogden and we are handler short. Sammy Ogden, Andy Baddocks.
Christie can punt it though, as can Izzy if needed. So
Yeah.
you're not going to say handlers.
But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be calling either of them as handlers. In fact, Andy Baddocks, go back a few years and was definitely a cutter as well. But I think Sammy Ogden's going to be having some fun.
Sammy and I just spent a season handling together next
Yeah.
week.
So I guess Marty back there as well. But yeah, I think that's going to be bloody interesting for sure. Obviously, no one can stop us in the end zone, but you can also pull out a thing where you just flood the end zone, drop some players, play some zones, stack the position, and I don't see what our second dimension is.
You'd have to agree. Now, it's also interesting looking at that team. Sammy, Marty, and Andy, all previous captains from last Super League, all sitting onto the one team. There's a funny abnormality for you.
I want to say there's definitely, would this be one of those cases of too many people trying to call lines? Ted's the captain, so he's got that. Johnny is outbreak coach, as you were saying. Sammy with a lot of experience. Marty, as you were saying, Marty, Andy, both captains last season. Can they let that slide and just go from there and go? Okay, it's not us this year. We can let it go. Sit back and listen. There's certain parts. I think I don't know if we are filming stuff. I don't think we are this season, but that'd definitely be a highlight team for sure.
Yeah. 100%. Also, last season's number 1 and number 2 picks in Greg Schrader and Johnny One White on the same team. You'd be happy with that.
I think it was crazy that Ben Foley dropped that far late, but I also think it was pretty crazy that Johnny dropped around as well. Johnny liked to say that he wasn't a first round pick, but I think Johnny's got enough experience that no matter how old and slow and non-training he gets, he's still an amazing player.
Agreed. We'll move on to the last team, and that's Connor's team. So looking at Connor's team, it's very similar. Defensive chops across the board. You have hard, mongrel defensive players. Not a ton of height, but definitely a ton of speed.
Oh yeah. I think it's going to be interesting watching Wilson versus Connor's team for sure, which I'm pretty sure is a week 1 matchup. Watching the 2 speedy teams going up against each other. Wilson versus Connor. Yep. So week 1 matchup to see who's got that speed. I think Connor's team a little bit younger, but Wilson's team with a little bit more chemistry and obviously the title to defend.
Youthful exuberance as well, as we previously mentioned. Very, very young team, which potentially leads into their chemistry as well. I think a lot of these players have played some U22s and similar together.
Yep.
Over the last few years. So, that's very interesting. Crazy stat the Minds has pointed towards us. So we've looked at average amount of Super Leagues they have played. You've got Wilson's team at 3.5. You've got Connor's at 3.3. You've got Lockie's at 3.2, and you've got Ted's at 6.1 Super Leagues played on average.
I was going to say,
But
cutting out, the bottom few players, it's one Super League for Pat Christie, one Super League for Ryan. Otherwise, we've got some 8s, some 9s, some 8s, some 10s, some 11s. Like 11 is, I think, possibly all of them for Johnny Warren White, which doesn't really surprise anyone. But yeah, ages is another one. So we've got Lockie and Connor, both average age of 24, and then Ted and Wilson up in 30.
Yeah.
So I guess that's going to be another interesting matchup as well. Is the old guys playing against each other, the young guys playing against each other.
And you look at that though, but we'll have one that is maybe we've got 30-year-olds that still been hitting the gym, and they're the ones that can still run the 13 plus beat test. So.
I'm happy to be on the other one. So that's cool with me. That's definitely going to be exciting. So biggest question: who missed out?
Who missed out?
Who are we
on
unlucky
this
that missed
year's
out?
teams? I think first one that springs to mind is Sam O'Connell.
Yep.
He's been around for a long time, and he's a very talented player.
7 years experience or something like that, probably.
Yeah.
About
and he's been really good as a stalwart for teams of late.
Scott Swart would be another one. I haven't been watching the chat, but if Johnny's been watching, he would have definitely been yelling from about round 2 about how amazing Scott Swart is. I think he can throw the disc away, but if you just want somebody to cut, Scott Swart, for sure. So I wonder whether that's another one that could have gone on Wilson's team. Just a cut-heavy player, gets lots of disc.
Similar to a Tim Stevens, but probably a lot more hot-headed version of Tim Stevens.
Yeah, for sure.
Another one you got to look at there is Alice C.
Yep.
Where she's going. That's potentially a side of not maybe being here for long enough and players not knowing a lot about it.
Yep.
It is. We have come off a mixed season, so some people seem to play in the mixed season, but potentially not as many as some of our other players floating around. Mm-hmm. Definitely got the chops. Australian Barramundi's quality player.
Yep.
So she's a high level player. She's probably pretty gutted, and I bet Ben Palais will probably hold some animosity against Wilson.
Yes.
We'll see how that influences their game.
That's sort of why I was expecting him to go as the final, as the final pick.
China was now, obviously.
Because otherwise, Wilson's number one pick is mad with him. It's not a great start to the season.
No.
I think another one as well, maybe not as has the experience, but Chuggy Bozan. So a lot of people, he's played plenty out at Flinders. I played some Div 2 Nats with him last year, and I think he's great. He's another one sort of like Sid, that is incredibly coachable. And just, I don't know, it's not that he does everything amazingly, but he does, it's not that he does one thing amazingly, it's that he does most things well. He's another one that will put himself body on the line. Just like another one of our players missed out. I think Ethan's name there?
Yep.
Ethan. He's another one that could have been 6 foot for Ted. And he's one of the crazy 6-footers that actually puts his body on the floor. Talking from experience, it's a long way down and I don't want to do it. Ethan, however, is happy to go down, happy to put his body on the line and happy to see what he can make happen.
Another sad one, I think, seeing the miss out there is Rex.
Yes.
Rex Johnson has always been known as a fantastic Super League player. Someone with good range that probably won't give you throwaways. Mm-hmm. Obviously, defensively, he doesn't have the ability or the pace or athleticism as many others. But offensively, you're going to get such a strong, reliable handler. So
I think he's always
Rex not making.
He's always been in those same sort of areas. He's always been those round 8, round 9, round 10 picks. But the fact that he's able to consistently do that, and I don't think anyone picked him up around 8, 9, 10 and gone, damn it, that wasn't the right pick. Everyone's gone, yep, I'm happy with that. So whether that's, it's not really young guys coming through. Looking at Dennis, Daniel's obviously an unknown. Izzy's been around for years as well. Alfie, I guess, is the youngest of all those round 10s, but he's still been around for 3-4 years, sort of thing. Flinders president, as far as I'm aware.
And studying at Adelaide Uni.
Because that makes complete sense. Yep.
Now, there are probably 2 key questions here, Tim. Lead balloon.
Yep.
And golden nugget in the rough.
Golden nugget in the rough.
Golden nugget in the rough. Who are your lead balloon, golden nugget in the rough?
So a lead balloon could be Ben Pally, if he doesn't play enough.
That's a cop-out answer.
Alright, I'm not done. I have multiple, but Ben Pally could be an obvious one. if your round one pick only plays 5 games, that's probably not great. Apart from that, one I'm looking at is Nathan Dignam, because I don't know if he has that everything. You look at those other first round picks or top 2 round picks, Ben Pally, Ben Foley, they can both do everything. Sean, Joe's only going to handle, but will be very confident back there. Greg and Johnny can do a lot of everything. Ferdy can do a bit of everything, run around. Diggers, I think, is that great cutter, but he doesn't have the throws. So you're going to be cool, I've got that primary cut, and now I've dumped it. And has that killed all your flow? If you've got some great handlers behind there, someone like Sam Kayon, then obviously he'll be happy getting the disc back as much as possible. But that would be one for me that I'd be looking at.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. Looking at Diggers, obviously Parlay's question, looking at Diggers as well. It's always interesting to look across your rounds and see, okay, if they're all matching up against each other, he's not going to be able to sort there. But in terms of two-way play or dynamicness, that maybe you want your number one pick to be able to do anything it ever needs that your team to do. A lot of these other top 2 picks, you can see those players being good at everything when you need them to be. Where Diggers, as you said, with his throwing range, potentially that would be his pick.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to go finish off with our last question because we already know we're both going to say our teams are going to win. Last question is that golden nugget in the rough. Who do you think they got picked way too low for what they're worth?
From what you've talked about with Daniel, I think that's one that's great. And Singh, as we mentioned, and Jimmy Connor, those are my sort of 3 that I think will all have that potential.
Yeah, I think Shine as last pick, potentially I think has the ability to see if he's still got that quality that he could be matching up against some of these top 4th, 5th round picks and playing incredibly well up there. If he's being matched up with these younger, lower round picks, he's just gonna tear through them there.
So realistically, what do you think yours is going to be? Who's winning? Who's the grand final? Who's playing on 3-4?
So my team, Black, obviously winning. I think we're going to have to beat Wilson's team coming second. And then out of the last 2, it's a tricky question. I think it will go Connor Ted based on the fact that Ted's team will get early wins, but then teams will work out how to stifle them.
Yep. Yeah, so I personally, I've got to hand it to Wilson. I think he's picked a great team with a lot of chemistry, a lot of similar to last year. We just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players from that winning team last year. I think that's definitely the team to beat. Question there is whether how quickly teams work out Ted's team. Can you get enough wins early on that'll bring you through? I don't see us winning the grand final because I think teams will work us out by then. But that could be your option. Going down, I'd say I think Connors Fletcher is the weakest team. I think there's a lot of youth in it. There's a lot of youth in it, and whether or not they can pull it together against some experience. Youthful enthusiasm is great, but you've also got to know what's the right play at right times. And also from the captaining point of view, okay, they're beating us in this way. How do we get that? And I think that might be what they're lacking as well. Is a little bit of experience there on tactics.
How much is Connor going to listen to Sam?
Yeah.
Sam's their one experienced head.
Yes. Big play on Sam.
Beautiful. Thanks for your time, Tim. First Super League in 6, apart from last season that where we've both been eligible and probably haven't played together.
Yes.
We'll be playing against each other. So fights around the family dinner table, that's for sure.
Except we both moved out now, so there's not a dinner table anymore.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all those
Shout out to Robin Davis.
Thanks for all those people that have streamed in. It's going to be an exciting fantasy, and it's going to be an exciting Super League to come.
Yep. Thanks to the captains. Thanks to Marty for setting all this up. Thanks to everyone rocking up, and coming, giving their woos and boos from the crowd. We'll see you next year, I guess.
Like and subscribe.